Hey everybody, my name is Tony. I'm the founder of MetaOpAI. I just unlocked some really cool features on MetaOpAI. We just developed a slash feature for memory retrieval. So for a lot of people who are first time seeing this, what is MetaOpAI? It's an AI signal intelligence app that I'm vibe coding on Cloud Code. Basically, how it works: you journal about your reality, about your lives, like whatever you're doing, whether it's family, work, relationships, so forth. And the idea is that because I built a memory substrate inside of the app, think of it, it's a type graph memory architecture. It's able to then take those journal narrations and model reality. Basically, when you're able to model your own reality, you can do really cool things like predictive analysis. You could extract signals and surface patterns and really do signal intelligence on your life. So I pretty much kind of went through this process. As you can see, I just logged out. I'm going to log back in to show you guys this is all wired up really quick. Just going to open it up and logged into my space. These are like all the spaces that I mentioned. Each one of these you could think of like your own journals. So if I can click on work, you'll see that I have some signals. I have about 100 journal narrations. These are the analytic tools to that journal. And you can see that there's two users assigned, or not users, or profiles, I should say, assigned. And I could click on journal here. You could see that the two people are here. So if I want to journal about Mike, I could click in the box. Um, at Mike was rude during stand up, during today's stand up. And the AI is going to respond kind of like a typical reflection app. Um, but the only difference is it's just going to give you some really cool feedback, some analysis. And notice it's actually pulling from history too as well. I'm going to go ahead and just commit that to timeline, just kind of give you a vibe of how it works. You can click the timeline, you can see all past interactions here. Notice that these are summary, but if I click on it, you could see the actual transcription of what's happening. You could go back and resume it if you want to. So that's pretty much that. You could actually do correlation too. You can run multiple correlations across like multiple different epochs, and you can see the AI automatically just starts correlating across different sessions. So this is useful for like if you had, you made a comment to somebody like 3 months ago. The second month, we all met up in a group chat, like a friends group, and you find out that person was kind of like off to you, and then another like recently, then you found out like rather recently that you were like uninvited to that person's wedding, partly because you made some off centered comment or something in a group chat 3 or 4 months ago. So like something like this is useful because it's able to stitch these things together, and as so long as you're journaling, which is pretty cool. And I'm just going to click out of this. I'm going to go back out, and then just click and show you the cool feature that we just recently unlocked. Because you're modeling people, you could actually do predictive outcomes. So I could come here and be like, hey, what if I confronted ah, um, at Mike for being rude? Um, and it's gonna basically give you a breakdown. And you see what it does is it gives like a most likely, worth preparing for, low probability. And this is like it's like kind of like game theory because you have a profile for Mike based on your narrations. And I could come here and be like, well, why do you think 60%? Why do you think that is 60%? And then it actually explains it like the 60% probability is most likely scenario of confronted Mike stems from several factors. And then it starts citing things like, patterns and signals that it previously saw. And then it cites past 2 weeks. Noted that, there was an issue with dealing with persistent empathy gap, which is a specific pattern that happened like 2 weeks ago. This pattern suggests that even if you address the rudeness directly, the underlying lack of empathy and mutual avoidance might continue to be a barrier. And this is really cool because unlike other apps that have like some type of like, mood, or they're doing some type of like, you know, verdict, MetaOp AI doesn't really do that. It just gives you the evidence. And if you want to go back and you want to look at the evidence, you come to KRL Explorer. You can look at all the patterns. You can see the pattern strength, things like that, like empathy gap, relationship, all that jazz. Like if I wanted to, I'll look for one that has evidence, and then I'll just click, hey, there's some rise in tension. There was some journaling I was doing rather today. And you can see that it shows you how it defines what the pattern is. So what is this rise in tension pattern? It's a stress signal or built in at the levels of the whole space, not just one person pointing at the environment itself. And then it breaks down like the time, the date of when it started, what was noticed, what was interpreted, what was reoccurred, times 13, spread, confirmed, and crystallized. And you can see all these different, signals. But really, what this is the KRL, and what it does is it breaks things down based on if you, it's about however prescriptive you are, how you're journaling. It'll fragmented your paragraphs into these structure. And basically, you can see that there's a meta context. The space is showing rise in stress, and at the same time, there was Mike was rude to the user. And then you could click over here and see show full evidence chain, and it actually breaks down your evidence, like why this actually happened. And you can see all that jazz. Notice sometime recently today, I actually wrote about this. Radio 7.6. So that's pretty cool. But so these are like the app how it works, and you can actually do Graph Explorer, which is actually really cool. And you can see that with Graph Explorer, it shows you all the people, all the spaces that they're connected to, and then who you are. And you can actually move this stuff around too if you want to like move this over here. And then if I click on you, you'll see. Oh, sorry. It gives you a breakdown, how many signals, events, and so forth, and give you a summary, an AI summary analysis. And you could kind of like look at all the different places where you're narrating. It'll pop up. It takes a minute to pop up because the AI has to process and aggregate that data. Um, One of the things I'm looking to do is cache it, so it'll be a little bit more easier. But that's the Graph Explorer. I'm going to kick back out. I want to show you the cool features that we just added. So all these are journals. Think of them like different journals of your life, and within them you have all your analytic tools and so forth. But what happens if you want to, and these are all the people that I've, different journals, so forth. So what happens if you want to start running a correlation across like multiple spaces or multiple things you want to retrieve from history? So what I did was I created the cross space AI, and basically how cross space AI works, it's pretty cool. I'm just going to go ahead and show you a demonstration. Um, Use a natural language, show me all signals, use the slash button. This is actually our retrieval command, so it actually pulls from the database itself, or the KRL. And I'm going to click on, or just type in signals. I think that's the easiest one. From at, gets to pull users from across the environment. So I'm going to look for Mike. I'm going to click on Mike just to show you that I could click on Mike. And then I'm going to write hashtag, in hashtag, and this is the space. So if you look at this, I'm able to say, use the cross space to say, hey, show me all the signals from a particular user in one particular space. And I could click send, and it just breaks down all the signals it saw. And I could change it to a couple of months. I could change it to July, just only June, or maybe only May, or whatever. Or I could do cross space analysis, like exactly what I was meaning to show you guys. Show me, I notice some stress between slash work and hashtag relationship. Tell me what you see. And it says here, you've noticed that some stress between your work and relationship space. Looking at the signals, there's a reoccurring theme of frustration and communication challenges in both stress and your workspace. Recently, interactions with Mike shows a pattern of rudeness and passive aggressiveness, like the incident on June 28th and June 24th in your relationship space. Similar feeling emerges with Sarah, particularly around miscommunication, boundaries, and issues. As noted on June 23rd, the parallel suggests a broader pattern of rise in tensions and boundaries and so forth, right? So you kind of get the gist of where that's going, and you're able to run correlations not just around users, you could do around spaces as well. I did spaces, and you could further deep dive into it. And notice that I was just showing you signals. I think what the dates we're talking about here are patterns, and then you can see even more signals were extracted based just doing on the noticing of it for yourself, which is pretty cool. And then this is like cross space is kind of like whiteboards. You could just come back out here and you could look at all the signals if you want to. you see signals are a bit different versus patterns that are a little bit more prescriptive. So you can see that that's pretty much how it is. Yeah, I just wanted to share that with you guys and really appreciate the opportunity. I built this entire app using Claude Code. My name is Tony. Once again, I'm the founder of MetaOpAI. I have about 15 years in security infrastructure engineering across multiple industries and so forth, mainly in finance. And I really appreciate the opportunity. Thank you very much. Peace.